I'm not going to waste my time doing crap that doesn't matter to me, because I'm running out of time. And so are you. And so are we all. And that means we should spend it doing stuff that matters to us. You know, I feel very lucky to have realized this whole you only have one life so don't waste it thing pretty early in my life. And if I had to pinpoint when that happened, this is when it happened. Let's go for a walk, shall we? So since I decided to blow up my YouTube channel, I'm experiencing kind of a bit of a creative freefall situation, because for so long I knew exactly what I was going to do. I had a content calendar. I do a yearly plan in November for what I'm going to be doing for the whole year, and I just kind of follow that with some adjustments. But now it's completely open and I have no plan, no idea what I'm going to be doing. And I've also allowed myself to do whatever the heck I want, which means I have kind of a bit of analysis paralysis, choice paralysis situation going on, where I have so many options. Every week I'm like, what am I going to talk about? But it's also really exciting because I can do things like this, where I'm like, I'm just going to take you on my walk and we're just going to have a chat. And I'm not going to worry so much about the perfect background, or, you know, structuring this in step by step. You're going to learn 5 things out of today's video. I can just be here talking to you about what's going on. So this weekend just gone, my husband Nick turned 50. One of my dearest friends lost her beloved cat, which might not sound like a lot to some of you, but she never had children. She wanted them, couldn't have them. She's a vegan, she's a massive animal lover, and her cat was her baby, and he was adorable, gorgeous little ragdoll cat, and he passed away. And those sort of milestone events in your life make you realize that we are all running out of time, that we don't have all the time in the world, that in fact our time is very limited, and that no matter what age we are, we don't know how much time we have left. And this past week just gone in our Artist's Way chat, so I'm currently working through The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron with a bunch of members in the Thriver Circle, my membership community. And one of the things we talked about in our catch up this week was this idea about being too old for something. And we see this crop up a lot, right? This idea that, oh, there's no point in starting this new thing now. I'm too old. I won't be able to make the progress I want to make. And I think it was chapter 8, she's talking about this concept. And I can't remember exactly what she says, but it's something along the lines of, if you do start this thing, or if you don't start this thing you've been thinking about doing or starting, in 5 years' time, you'll be the same age anyway. You just won't have done it. This idea that we shouldn't start something because we don't know how much time left we have to work on it is such a stupid idea. Like, it's such a foolish objection to doing something. Like, okay, so I won't become like a concert, I could maybe. Like, that's the thing. Like, oh, I won't become a concert cellist if I start learning the cello or relearning the cello now at the age of 44. I say this because I've had a cello in my closet for like 15 years and I took lessons for about 6 months and then never got back to it. And I still haven't brought myself to part with it. You know what that's like, right? You're holding on to things because you think one day I'll get to it, maybe. But then other things come up, other priorities, life, business, work, family, whatever it might be, and we don't get to the thing. And then we just keep saying excuses like, oh, there's no point in starting now. And I guess that's kind of what I'm dealing with right now, is a bit of a open-ended case of what should I start now? Like, I have a couple of projects going on. I've got my new plant YouTube channel. Well, new, I've been running it for like 8 months or something. I'm having fun with that. That's a fun creative project that I started because I wanted something new and exciting. But I found myself for the first time in probably about 15 years, I found myself in a place and a time where I don't have to be constantly thinking about marketing my businesses every single working day. Because my jewellery business is just ticking along the way it has been for many, many years. I don't have to do much to keep that going, keep sales coming in now. It's all pretty automated at this point. My teaching stuff, well, I just finished launching Set Up Shop, my course that I decided to only run once this year. I've closed the Thriver Circle to new members for now, and I'm not quite sure when I'm going to reopen it. I will, but I'm not sure when. And I'm just like, have all this time and all this freedom, kind of do what I want with my time. And it's exciting, but also sort of makes me want to just curl up on the couch because I don't know what to do. I don't have a plan. I don't know what I'm going to do. So I've decided, because I need a plan, that my plan will be no plan. What I've decided is that the next 6 months are going to be a period of creative freedom, creative exploration, creative unfurling, creative uncovering. Basically, I'm just going to let myself do whatever I want creatively and see what comes of it. I'm going to do whatever I want with this YouTube channel. I'm going to put videos, whatever the heck I want to talk about, I'm going to post it. I'm going to take you on trips with me. I'm going to take you traveling with me. I'm going to talk about all the things I think about life, about creativity, about freedom, all of the things that have mattered to me in my life and that I care about and that have enabled me to be in this position. Like, I'm 44 years old and I have the freedom to basically do very little work for 6 months and discover what's next in my life because of all the work I've done previously to build up businesses and a financial position that allows me this freedom. And that's pretty freaking amazing. And I know a lot of you aren't in that situation, but I want to share more about how I got to this point, and not just in sort of a dry, boring, businessy way, right? I want to talk about it more personally. And to be honest, this is really scary. And I talked about that in my breaking up with my YouTube niche video, because you know, YouTube is generally all about, well, what they teach you is all about having a niche, being the person who you go to for something. And I don't know who that I am. Like, I don't know what that something is anymore. What is it exactly that I'm the person that you want to go to for? I was actually talking about this very thing with a couple of friends. If any of you have been around a long time and you remember the Business of Making podcast, where I did a handmade business podcast with 2 friends, colleagues of mine. We're still good friends and we catch up regularly to talk about the state of our life and business. And I was talking to them about this and I'm like, you know, I don't want to be seen as like a self-help guru or coach or whatever. Like that's not the vibe I'm going for. And Deb was like, but your brand kind of already fits what you want to talk about. Create and thrive. You want to talk about creating and you want to talk about thriving, just in a wider way. And she's not wrong. That is kind of what I want to talk about, but in a more expansive way, in a more honest and raw and less structured way. And that's not to say I won't still sometimes do the, you know, these 5 things, these 10 things will help you, blah, 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 types of videos. I probably will. But they're going to be just a part of what I do now, not the whole of what I do now. And it's time to turn around and go back. You know, I feel very lucky to have realized this whole you only have one life so don't waste it thing pretty early in my life. And if I had to pinpoint when that happened, this is when it happened. When I was in my first year of uni, so I was like 17, turning 18, I took a course called Meditation in Eastern Religions, because I did a science and arts dual degree, and in my arts degree I was playing around with, do I want to major in philosophy, psychology, studies of religion, English? I didn't know, so I was taking a whole bunch of courses. And I took this one course, Meditation in Eastern Religions. And we did a whole bunch of different types of meditation. We learnt about the psychology of it, but we also practiced a lot of different types of meditation. We did a lot when we weren't in class as well. We had textbooks and readings and examples. So one holiday period between terms, I went up to Townsville to visit my dad, we just moved down from being up there for a couple of years for his job, and he hadn't transferred back yet, but Mum and I had come back down to Brisbane so I could go to uni and live at home still. And there was this, I think, Tibetan Buddhist death meditation. And it went like this, something like this. You laid down and you visualized your body decaying after death. And it actually, before you did the meditation, it laid it all out for you. It actually described the stages and all of the things you should visualize. And I won't go into detail here because you probably weren't expecting this in today's video. But I did that meditation, and it is, to this day, a crystal clear memory for me, lying there in that room, doing that meditation, and going through that visualization. Because when you're 17, you don't normally think about the fact you're going to die. You're too busy still growing and becoming an adult. But that meditation really, in a visceral way, reminded me or taught me for the first time perhaps that I was going to die and that I didn't have all the time in the world. Now, of course, I don't remember that all the time. I don't remember it most of the time. Who does? We're too busy living to think about dying. But when I pause and reflect, I always come back to that. When I make decisions in my life about what I'm going to do, what I'm going to spend my time on, what matters, I always come back to that. That I'm running out of time. That I don't have endless amounts of it. And that means that I have spent all of my years since then trying to work out the best way to spend my time, the way that makes me feel the best, the happiest, the most content. I'm not going to waste my time doing crap that doesn't matter to me because I'm running out of time. And so are you, and so are we all. And that's another reason why I'm passionate about teaching and sharing and talking about this stuff, because not all of us have had the blessing of having that experience that I had and realizing on a deep fundamental level that we're all running out of time. And that means we should spend it doing stuff that matters to us. Now, I don't know what matters to you. I only know what matters to me. So I can't tell you what to spend your time on. I have no idea what you want to spend your time on, but what I can say, or what I can encourage you to do, is figure it out yourself, because what I don't want for you is for you to get the end of your life and realize that you wasted it on stuff that didn't matter, that somebody else thought was important for you, or that society thought was important for you, or that you thought you had to do for whatever reason, because you don't. I haven't lived the way my society expected me to. I mean, I have in some ways. I've bought a house, I've gotten married, I have a nice car, I have savings and investments, all those sorts of things. But the way I spend my days and how I spend my time and my priorities are vastly different to most people, I think, in my society. Like some of my dearest friends have excellent government jobs that earn them 6+ figures a year, but they're stressed and tired and they get very little time to themselves. Yes, when they're older and retired, they're going to be way better off financially than me. But what if they don't make it to retirement? What if they retire and die of cancer the next year? Sorry guys if you're watching this. But that's just an example of my priorities in life. Yes, I need financial security. That's a no-brainer. But there's financial security, and then there's financial abundance, and then there's more than I could ever possibly need. And I'm aiming for somewhere between the first and the second ones. Crossing the road, trying not to get run over. Not that it's likely on this road. Oh no, there's a car. Now, I don't read a lot of poetry, but my favourite poet of all time is Mary Oliver. And if you've never read any of her stuff, I highly recommend you do. But one of the lines of hers that's always stuck with me ever since I heard it, and you've probably heard it before as well. Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? And that line has stuck in my head because life is wild and life is precious and life is free if you let it be. And I, at the age of 44, still don't know what I plan to do with my one wild and precious life. But every day is a new opportunity to figure it out. I hope you figure it out too. Or at least have fun trying.